And the story I have for you today is about three young men, wastrels all, who decided that they would seek out death. They assumed that because the oldest are close to death, they just needed to find an old person who could point the way. So they found an old man who told them that death could be found under yon tree. At once, the three young rioters began to run and reached the tree, and there they found a pile of gold florins on the ground, new coined, 8 bushels of them as they thought. No longer was it death those fellows sought, for they were all so thrilled to see the sight. The florins were so beautiful and bright that down they sat beside the precious pile. The wickedest spoke first after a while. "Brothers," he said, "you listen to what I say. I'm pretty smart, although I joke away. It's clear that fortune has bestowed this treasure to let us live in jollity and pleasure. Light come, light go, we'll spend it as we ought. Who would have thought this morning was to be our lucky day? If one could only get the gold away back to my house, or else to yours perhaps. For as you know, the gold is ours, chaps. But we must be careful and carry it away by night, or people will call us robbers, a strong gang, so our own property would make us hang. No, we must bring it back by night some prudent way and keep it out of sight. And so as a solution, I propose we draw for lots to see the way it goes. The one who draws the longest, lucky man, shall run to town as quickly as he can to fetch us bread and wine, but keep things dark, while 2 remain in hiding here to mark our heap of treasure. If there's no delay, when night comes down, we'll carry it away, all 3 of us, wherever we have planned." He gathered lots and hid them in his hand, bidding them draw for where the luck should fall. It fell upon the youngest of them all, and off he ran at once towards the town. As soon as he had gone, the first sat down and thus began a parley with the other. "You know that you can trust me as a brother. Now let me tell you where your fortune lies. You know our friend has gone to get supplies, and here's a lot of gold that is to be divided equally amongst us 3. Nevertheless, if I could shape things thus so that we shared it out, the 2 of us, wouldn't you take it as a friendly turn?" "But how?" the other said with some concern. "He knows the gold's with me and you. What can we tell him? What are we to do?" "Is it a bargain," said the first, "or no? For I can tell you in a word or so what's to be done to bring the thing about." "Trust me," the other said. "I won't betray you. I'll be true." "Well," said his friend, "you see that we are 2, and 2 are twice as powerful as 1. Now look, when he comes back, get up in fun to have a wrestle. Then as you attack, I'll up and put my dagger through his back while you and he are struggling as in game. Then you draw your dagger too and do the same. All this money will be ours to spend. Divided equally, of course, dear friend. Then we can satisfy our lusts and fill the day with dicing at our own sweet will." Thus these 2 miscreants agreed to slay the 3rd and youngest, as you heard me say. The youngest, as he ran towards the town, kept turning over, rolling up and down within his mind the beauty of those bright new florins, thinking, "Lord, if I could only have all the gold to myself alone." To men in such a state, the devil sends thoughts of this kind and has full permission to lure them on to sorrow and perdition. For this young man was utterly content to kill them both and never to repent. And on he ran, he had no thought to tarry, came to the town, found an apothecary, and said, "Sell me some poison, if you will. I have a lot of rats I want to kill." And there's a polecat, too, about my yard that takes my chickens and it hits me hard. But I'll get even, as is only right, with vermin that destroy a man by night. The chemist answered, I've a preparation which you may have, but by my soul's salvation, if any living creature eat or drink a mouthful, ere he has the time to think, though he took less than makes a grain of wheat, you'll see him fall down dying at your feet. Yes, die he must, and in so short a while, you'd hardly have the chance to walk a mile. The poison is so strong, you understand. This cursed fellow grabbed into his hand the box of poison and found a man who lent him 3 large bottles. He withdrew and deftly poured the poison into 2. He kept the 3rd one clean, as well he might, for his own drink, meaning to work all night, stacking the gold and carrying it away. And when this rioter, this devil's clay, had filled his bottles up with wine, all 3, back to rejoin his comrades sauntered he. Why make a sermon of it? Why waste breath? Exactly in the way they planned his death, they fell on him and slew him 2 to 1. Now for a drink! Sit down and let's be merry, for later on there'll be the corpse to bury. And, as it happened, reaching for a sup, he took a bottle full of poison up and drank, and his companion, nothing loath, drank from it also, and they perished both. There is in Avicenna's long relation concerning poison and its operation. Trust me, no ghastlier section to transcend than what these 2 wretches suffered at their end. Thus these 2 murderers received their due. So did the treacherous young poisoner, too. The Pardoner's Tale, Geoffrey Chaucer. Thank you.